What's going on, guys? This is Chase Mcallister, and this is the Cut to the Chase podcast where we discuss all things business, selling, and success. Today, we have a guest, Steve Apodaca, CEO of Rise Up Financial and VP of Sales at Phone Sites. Correct me if I'm wrong. It is VP of Sales at Phone Sites, and correct me if I'm wrong. That is how I pronounce your name, correct?
Everything was perfect. I'm not VP of sales anymore. I'm just director of enterprise sales. So I don't know
Awesome.
if that's a demotion or promotion, but title does not matter. Impact is what matters.
Awesome. Now, first and foremost, I ask all my guests this first question. If you had a 75% chance to win $1 million or a 50% chance to win $10 million, what would you take?
That's mean. That's a mean question. So I'm an AT type, meaning I make calculated risks, but my action personality also helps me jump the gun a lot. So initially, I'd say give me the all or nothing, the 75% chance, and then my T-type brain would be like, well, if you have a higher chance and you can invest it and do the rest and all this other stuff and work your ass off to put it to use. So I'd say both, but initially and innately, it would have been the 75% chance.
Awesome. So you have, two businesses that I introduced you with. Let's talk about the insurance, or, maybe let's go into your kind of Phone Sites, or you can kind of talk about both of them. But tell us about yourself, who you are, who you serve, and why do you serve them?
Yeah, definitely. I've been in the life insurance space for 7.5 years. I never got health licensed. I've never done Medicare, ACA, any of the other stuff that a lot of the health agents are doing. I know that's a lot of cross sellers who like to do dual licenses, but I was naive when I first entered the business, and I had asked my trainer when he brought me in. I said, "Hey, do I check off life and health, or just life?" He says, "You're not." He's like, "There's too much politics in health, so just do the life."
Yeah.
So I'm looking back on that with some slight regret, because since 2017/18, I've been told by a lot of people that have influence, like, you need to get in the ACA space, you need to get in the Medicare space. Come on, you'd kill it there. Like, you do it a lot better. But realistically, Chase, when I planted the flag to do life insurance, I figured there's still such a foundational need that I didn't really need to exit the space. There's still so much need to protect the foundational piece of a financial house that I decided, you know what, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to leave as much impact that I possibly can in the space that I'm in, until I just can't do it anymore. So yeah, I've just been traditionally life licensed. I did straight life insurance. I didn't know what a lead was for the first 3 years of my career. It wasn't even compliant to have leads where I first started.
Wow.
So I look at the first 3 years of my career kind of like college. It was like practice. It was like practice, right? So I call it my first company, my practice company. When I learned about leads, it was the biggest game changer. I was like, you mean there's people who actually want to talk to me about insurance? I didn't even know that. I thought I had to just like pound people's doors, kick the bushes, lift up the rocks, and do everything that I could, right, to create the need, right? When I learned about leads, I was, like I said, 3 years in, and my first month, I guess my quote unquote claim to fame. My first month as an independent agent, I wrote in 26 days, I did $27,000 on 30 apps. And after that, I didn't need to actively recruit those I recruited 145 agents my first 6 months into the independent business. And I didn't actively recruit, but the first 3 years prior, actively recruiting, I got 100 agents. 6 months after going independent and getting some success, I guess I attracted 145 agents, and we did about $250,000 in premium those first 6 months. And so that's what kind of led me to where I'm at now. I've gone through some shifts, through IMO shifts. Some of them were kind of out of my control, just kind of a victim of circumstances.
Yeah.
And so every time I've switched, because somebody felt like they had to switch off the button of our business, there were victims involved. And so I decided I didn't want my agents to go through those changes anymore. So I personally made a decision to trim the fat, and now I only run with like five to 10 agents at a time.
It's funny because I was going to ask you, and you kind of answered the question there, but I was going to ask you, what did it take for you to be able to manage those 100 agents for them to all be producing, and if there was anything? Because I've spoken with some big IMO owners, some small IMO owners, and you know, it's a mixed review on what some IMOs have been projecting. You know, get the 100, 200 people underneath you. Don't worry if the one writes, as long as you got 100, it shouldn't matter. And then there's others where they're like, you know, stick to a small group of actual producers. Where, and I guess you answered that, but where did you find, and what I guess was the catalyst to learning that in your career?
Yeah, the beautiful thing about this, Chase, is we can pave the path we all want to, right? I know there are IMOs with MOs, right? To say, hey,
Yeah.
look, recruit first, build first, and volume will take care of the rest. While that's true to an extent for people like myself, and this is why I say it, the beautiful thing is we live in a time, in a country with an opportunity to pave your own path, right? So to me, I felt it was tough to manage those agents alone. Now, I had that level of success because I had systems and support from my IMO to help me manage those agents, right? So I was provided a good dashboard that tracked our numbers. Like, to me, the dashboard was a lifesaver because now I can kind of manage where we're at, where we're going, trends, right? I can see and identify certain things for agents and then have those conversations and train them, right? But if you don't have those support systems in place, it's tough, man. It's really tough. So
Very tough.
the level of success that I had was partially due to the fact that I had some level of support there. When you're on your own and you're creating this stuff on your own, it's another full-time job, right? You're trying to produce still to maintain. You gotta stay in business to be in business, right?
Yep.
So it's still bringing home the bacon. It's developing those systems. Again, if they're not provided for you anymore, somebody's got to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I still, inside of me, I still wanted to build a team. I still wanted to have to help other agents, right? And so, again, if nobody's going to provide that support, at me as a leader, I had to do something to provide that myself. And it costs a lot of money. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of experience. Sometimes it takes stuff like coding and things like that, right? And so you either spend time or you spend money on those business, and I was limited on both of those things. And it got to the point to where I was just like, you know what, I'd rather have the quality time with a smaller amount of agents, the ones that I know that are committed, like upfront. I kind of created my dream my dream agent, and I said I'll work with this type of person, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not to say that I wouldn't work with the others, but considering the circumstances and the conditions that I was in, I would rather spend the quality time with a handful of agents than to be stretched very thin across 100, 200, or even, or more than that.
Now, if you had, to give one pro tip to an agent starting out, what would it be? It's a hard question, I know. It's just because there's so many ways to answer it, but
it is. Like, I don't know. Remember, I said to be in business, you got to stay in business. You got to be in business, right? So it's like, hey, you need to make money first and foremost before you consider building, before you consider anything else. So I would say get good at asking questions, right? And this is just my perspective. I know there's a lot of other things. Somebody would say, hey, dial a list of 500 leads and see what, and work the numbers, right?
Yep.
Me, when I first entered the business, it took a lot for me to get recruited. I had a lot of questions. I was very skeptical. But the fact that all of those things could be answered to, it really helped me. So I said, well, if I've got these questions, I know the average consumer has these questions too, right? And so through my first 3 years, it was, like I said, it was a practice. It was more of me vomiting information, being excited about, hey, look, we can protect your future if somebody dies, protect the paycheck, cover the funeral costs, all those marketing terms we hear, right? But people don't, they know that. They don't care about that, right? And so when I learned to ask the right questions, I call them intentional and diagnostic questions, then now I could lead them down the path of them uncovering for themselves that need and why they need it, and that they need to take advantage of that with me, right?
Yep.
So it's a long answer, but I would say, look, man, your ability to ask questions, and that goes into like your presentation of overcoming objections before they arise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Asking those right questions definitely would at least increase your chances, because when you're first starting out, you might not have a lot of chances. Again, you
Yeah.
either spend time or you spend money. A lot
Yep.
of entry level don't have money to spend on leads right away.
Yep.
They're left to their warm market and anybody else that would, with a heartbeat and a social, that would talk to them about insurance, right? And so when you can ask those right questions, you can approach almost anybody. Anybody can be a lead. Actually, everybody should be a lead if you can ask those right questions.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, do you have any for you when you were selling? I know you were mostly, building a team, but obviously you were out there on the road. How were you selling? Were you doing a lot of telesales? Were you doing a lot of face to face? What was really your approach when you were out there?
Yeah, like I said, the leads were a game changer to me. When I learned that people were filling out cards, I tried to jump on it as fast as I could. The only problem was being in where I'm at. I'm in Las Vegas.
Okay.
It's heavily saturated by larger IMOs. So the competition here is thick in
Mm-hmm.
one sense in volume, but at the same time, I might hurt some feelings here, but it's weak.
Yeah.
So because I was short of leads, I could not find fresh leads. Every territory was locked out by a high producer. Matter of fact, where I was at, we had the top three out of 10. So in the top 10, three of the top 10 producing agents were in Vegas or in Clark County. And so they were like high producing. The lead vendor is definitely not going to cut them off, right? For some new guy that's up and coming, right? So I had to get good at cleaning up the mess from the rookie agents and the inexperienced agents and the agents who cut corners. So I went ahead and I just pounded the crap out of B and C leads for mortgage protection. I'll kind of pause there and I'll explain why I picked mortgage protection.
Yep.
Because I know there's final expense agents, there's mortgage protection agents, there's all this other stuff, right? I picked the niche, and for the people who might be entering into the business that are hearing this, right? Because I know sometimes we're speaking to people who know what they're doing and others who are just kind of trying to learn some stuff, right? So the reason why I picked mortgage protection is because it takes care of the qualifications. Chase, I think you've developed leads before, right? You're
we
kind of a lead
have
guy, right?
a pretty big mortgage protection program.
Okay.
I think we probably produce around 3,000 to 4,000 leads a day for.
So you're no rookie, right?
I'm no rookie.
so to me, a lead is not just, and we hear it all the time, a lead is just a name and a number. Bullcrap, right? A lead is somebody not only that has intent, but they're qualified. A lead is a qualified lead. Yep. To me, mortgage protection takes care of the most important qualifying factors when you're selling life insurance.
Income.
Married, most of the time they're married. They own a home. Now, I like the fact that they own a home because a bank just underwrote them. A bank just decided they were fiscally responsible enough to at least write them a $400,000, $500,000 check for their house, right? So there's some level of fiscal responsibility there. There's a need because there's either a spouse or children, right? And they have an income, right? Otherwise, the bank wouldn't have given them that loan, right?
And the income and asset to protect if anything were to happen.
Yeah, and now they have a higher incentive.
A lot of those people are already going to be people who have structure in their lives and like security, right? They're not and they're not going to be living off of paycheck to paycheck. These are normally people that have a savings that understand finances, right? Some might be living paycheck to paycheck, but you're always going to get that qualification. I think even for me, we have final expense. We do a lot of live transfers in the final expense market, and I see a lot of the ease of qualifying, just like you said, but now I can go and I can basically just by the lead card, I can see exactly how much this person makes per year, what their loan amount is. I can basically say this person should be able to afford this policy and this much coverage. I can already have a game plan basically prepared before the conversation even starts, which is something you wouldn't normally get. You get a final expense lead with some health information. Fantastic. They're healthy enough. They're going to get approved, but you have no idea if they can afford it, whatever it might be, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have to agree. I have to agree, and I never really looked at it that way from an agent.
Well, plus there's an incentive for them to protect people, right? And
Yeah.
even for the ones who don't have family that lives with them, there's still somebody that's going to be in charge of taking care of the house when they die. So there's always going to be some sort of incentive for them to want to protect that house, whether it's a roof over someone's head or even just an investment for the family, right?
Yep.
I didn't like final expense leads because what I was finding is the income level wasn't there. And this is no knock on people's income or anything like that, right? But
No.
plus the average premium, like Miss Betty can only afford a slice of income discretionary outside of the small paycheck she gets on a routine basis.
And why take that money away from truthfully bet? Like personally, I would rather go after a mortgage protection market where they can afford it and it's giving them a lot more value. I love final expense. I know the reasons and I know the benefits of it. Truthfully, final expense is the reason why I got into the insurance space, is because I've had people pass away that didn't have anything when they were gone and it was left on us. And so I know the importance there, but I'm also like, if Betty can basically just afford groceries, then truthfully, the $25,000 that she's going to leave, is that really going to benefit the rest of the life that she has left? Like,
Right.
I'm in total agreement. I'm in total
Well,
agreement
what I
with what you're saying.
typically found for final expenses also is that because even if we were to get them coverage, Chase, it's still closer to what it would have been if the family had to come out of pocket, regardless, right?
Yeah,
But the problem is like if a flat tire happens or something and that premium check needs to go to something else important, now that person just wasted the last 12, 24, 36 months of premiums and are still left with nothing. We didn't accomplish anything. Chase,
yeah,
I know that my job doesn't come full circle until I deliver a death benefit. I might
yeah.
close a policy, that might be some sort of success, but realistically, our jobs don't come full circle until we deliver on the promises. And if somebody signs up for a year, 2 years, 6 months, or whatever and cancels, it literally defeated the entire purpose,
Defeated
right?
the purpose. It wasted everybody's money, time, and energy, and yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in total
So
agreement.
here's the other thing too: is working the mortgage protection route. Banks are giving 75 and 80-year-olds loans, 30-year loans anyway. So my final expense policies are like $400 or $500 premiums, whereas other traditional final expense premium, you're looking at 20 to 50 bucks a month,
Yeah,
right? And so I'm finding final expense business through the mortgage protection route because these seniors, again, they just got underwrote. They've got pensions, they've got military benefits, they've got 3 houses around the country, they've got $9,000, $10,000 of income, and it's very easy for them to say, "I want to protect my wife and my posterity because not only can I can do it, but I also have an incentive with this house."
and like with mortgage protection, you can also, if you do have the product knowledge for advanced products like IULs, like annuities,
Yes,
now you can really take those to the next
cross sell.
level, and you're not spending $100, $200 for leads for an annuity lead. You spent maybe 30 to 50 bucks for a mortgage protection lead, and now you're off to the races, or
Or
on a B or C lead, right? But
are you kidding me? So remember, I told you, getting good at asking questions. That's where you're going to uncover those opportunities, right? And so it's a very
correct.
non-intrusive way to ask, like, "Hey, so I need some. This is called suitability, Mr. and Mrs. Client, right? I need to figure out what your income is, and so are you investing? Do you have any old 401ks? Do you have XYZ? That's where you're going to uncover that advanced market business. And so throughout my when I was heavy producing, I was closing, 2 or 3 IULs through that discovery process and about an average of about 1 or 2 annuities a month on top of
Very cool.
the 15 to 20 life apps. So anyway, long story short, I chose the mortgage protection route. I went the BNC lead route because, again, a lot of these agents, they don't ask those right questions. They are self-diagnosing their clients and saying, "Hey, I think you should get 100 grand," when you didn't even ask the question of what else their needs are, what else the potential problems might exist if
Yeah.
they were to die, right? And so I was easily just converting those B and C leads that had already bought from somebody, and I'm like, "Hey, look, if I can just give you a better offer, is there any reason you turn it down?" Like a very non-intrusive and simplistic way to say, "Hey, look, like let me compete for you, and I'm going to show you something that'll knock your socks off." And bro, I made a lot of strong relationships because of that. Because now you come in as the hero, right? And I didn't do it
Yeah.
intentionally to say, "Hey, look at me, I'm better than my competition.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, I have a solution that I'm almost positive that you need. You just don't know you need it yet. I just need to see your policy and to do a fair comparison so that I can show you that you need the better product, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
I made a killing for 3 to 4 years, just cleaning up after off of those BNC leads. And finally, I joined an organization that was like, yeah, we can get you mailers, fresh leads out there in Vegas, and pulled the trigger on that. It was kind of fun at first, but the lead cost got very expensive and the returns started getting lower. And I'm like, man, I would have been better off just hiring a VA to call my BNC leads.
Yeah. Yeah. The mailer industry, the age demographic is increasing, unfortunately, and the costs are just increasing. It's unfortunate. I'm all for saying all marketing works, right? All marketing works. Everything is different though. And unfortunately, with the mail industry as a whole, not even just mailing leads, it's kind of a one-trick pony, right? For getting your Amazon packages, but not a lot of people are sending out mail, right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of receiving mail, but not a lot of sending back out, and that's the problem. They are trying to do some new ways with QR codes, and hopefully that can help battle. But it's kind of unfortunate to see some what has been the industry's kind of crutch for so long in the mortgage protection space go out. That's why we started building out our landing pages. Primarily, our company was in the Medicare and final expense space. We have around now 20,000 landing pages ranked on the first to fourth page of Google for Medicare, final expense, and now mortgage protection. And we did that because we've seen the void of what mailers was going to, and we wanted to provide something that was more real time and get a different demographic. And we're seeing, even, it's crazy to say this, but on TikTok right now, we even started advertising on Tech Talk at some point just to test. And the demographic that's on TikTok was the exact same that we were seeing actually like increase in rise from Facebook and Google, in the sense of like actual people that have mortgages, actual people that actually aren't just tire kickers clicking a link.
Dude.
I'm seeing a bunch of good quality that's now coming out of it, and I'm excited to see where the mortgage protection space goes because of it. Now, were you doing a lot of face-to-face or telesales?
Yeah, so at first, until COVID, I was 100% face-to-face. I was doing the 100 miles around town. Being in Vegas, there's not very many towns outside of Vegas. I know with like the East Coast, you can travel counties and stuff like that. Not in the desert, dude. Yeah. So yeah, I was just doing the mortgage protection in Clark County, face-to-face. When COVID hit, I couldn't even leave the house. Nobody wanted us in their house. Yeah. So through, ironically, through phone sites, I found this tool that allowed me to go digital, to be relevant anywhere, everywhere, at all times. And again, since I was a solopreneur, I was still producing, my 15 to 20,000 a month, like clockwork. I didn't want that to be interrupted, especially during COVID. So I had to adapt and evolve. I built my entire digital sales platform and system through phone sites, and I survived. And not only did I survive, I thrived through going the digital route. But also, more importantly, and this isn't a deterrent for people who generate leads, especially you, I'm not trying to step on toes. No. But realistically, what helped me thrive is tapping into my existing book. And I really hope that agents can, I don't want to say get away from the burn and churn model, but realistically, we got to learn how to serve our clients better, because
100%.
There was a point in time when I was collecting data on my numbers, and at one point in time, 68% of my business was from warm and hot market, or like referrals.
Yep.
So I know how to get referrals without saying the word referrals, and it's through like good, solid retention, customer service, treating your people right, knowing your audience, feeding them ice cream instead of worms, marketing the right way and stuff like that.
So, I mean, our business premise, and we truthfully churn down people that aren't really working in a database. I'm all for, you build a database of current customers and new prospects. You do not need to be on the hamster wheel of fresh leads, buying new leads every week. You just need to build a database, a place that you can call on, a place that you can reach out, send out marketing, send out information, make sure you're top of mind, and make sure that they know who you can send out to. I think I would argue to you that having a business based completely on referrals isn't truthfully a business.
Right.
But I would argue that um, if you have a database with your current customers and prospects, and you look at it as a database and not needing fresh new leads, I think the more you look at that, the better you're going to have a business. But I think you need to have a place where you're confident that you can always go back and nurture to, and a place that you can be confident that you might have a bad conversation with a lead today, but have a place you can put it, and they'll be confident that you can reach out to them again and bring that lead back. Now, I brought up phone sites. I want you to bring that up because it's a cool feature. We're kind of in talks. I might even add it to the Unreal software potentially. We don't know yet. But what are you doing at phone sites? What's phone sites doing? Who do they serve? And yeah, maybe just give us the runaround on that.
Yeah, phone sites is a page building software. And the reason it's called phone sites is because everything can be done on the phone. It's click and drag. If you need to move stuff around, you can drag it around, hit the edit button, type in some words, move some pictures around. And so it helped me as an insurance agent, because when I realized that niche marketing was more effective, instead of speaking to everybody and speaking to nobody, I decided to speak to certain people, right?
Yeah.
And so it's finding the people that already have some sort of problem with getting coverage, and you're there to solve the problem and provide a solution, right? So I started creating pages with phone sites, and I started targeting people who had like COPD. Hey, I know you as a COPD patient, you have problems getting coverage. I have a solution for you. Fill out the form and also take care of you. People with like type 2 diabetics. I know that's not something that, like, in the insurance world, us as agents, we know that that's an easy niche to overcome. Like, almost everybody can accept the diabetic, but the diabetics themselves don't know that, right?
Yep.
So to them, they think, well, something's wrong with me, therefore an insurance company won't want to look at me. Well, here's my page here's me to show you that that's wrong, and I have a solution for you. So I picked a couple of niches, and I used the pages to target those people and provide the solutions. So now, as far as who we serve, it's literally anybody who needs leads, right? So I have a lot of real estate clients, I have roofing clients, solar clients, anybody who needs human interaction and leads, a name, phone number, and an email. These are the people who are using phone sites. And again, the ease of use and the speed to market is so ridiculous. That's why people like myself, who, again, I didn't have uplines, I didn't have management, I didn't have anybody saying, hey, we're going to provide you these tools. I had to develop them myself, right? And so this was a game changer. It was a lifesaver to me. And 2 years after I used it, the guy who created the software, Ryan Stewman, they call him the hardcore closer. He developed this. He developed it in the real estate space. That was his claim to fame. He was generating leads with that, and he decided there was another competing software that a lot of people probably already know and use, and he got tired of them raising rates, changing things around, getting too intricate, right? He likes to make complicated things simple. And so when things started getting a little bit too intricate and taking time away from, realistically, us as salespeople, we need to be talking to people and selling, not creating software, right? So he says, look, I need something that's easy, quick to market. He developed it, generated a ton of money in the process. And so he opened up the opportunity for somebody to bring phone sites into the enterprise level instead of the solopreneur and the small business. And so they brought me in. I don't know why. I told him up front, I'm like, dude, I'm a solo guy. I've never managed more than 150 people. I've never sold anything enterprise, but there was something, I guess, that they liked about me. Maybe because I had this call the damn lead shirt on when I did my interview. I don't know. But they brought me in to solve this problem, and we're doing pretty well with it so far. A lot of beta testing that we're doing, not in the software, but in the enterprise offers that we're giving to people like yourself, like influencers, and people are definitely jumping on it.
Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. Well, I'm not going to keep you too long because you're a busy man. If somebody needs to get a hold of you, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, I will put the website links down. But if there's a handle, anything you want to leave our audience with, I'll leave you with the floor, my man.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. How much time we got? I'd like to give everybody a nugget, something tangible that they can use to make some money.
You got as much time as you possibly need to give this nugget.
All right, cool. Sounds good. So this goes back to the referral that I was talking about. So
For
this
sure.
is partially what I was when I was. Not only did I build my own team, I was also part of a team that I trained a team. We're doing $450,000 in premium a month. So we had a
Very cool.
large 400 or 500 agent team, and I was one of the lead trainers for them. So I
Yep.
used to train this system that I'm going to tell everybody here on the podcast, and this should help a lot of people, whether they're brand new in business or if you have an existing book. This should really excite you. Okay. So here's how it goes, Chase. You and I just closed business. Okay. And I'm going to say, hey, Chase, look, it's great that you got this policy.
Yeah.
But
Happy. Steve, so happy.
realistically, I know you're not going to go around the neighborhood sharing your excitement for the policy.
No, I'm not. Sorry, but happy, but I'm not that happy.
Right. But at the same time, my job doesn't come full circle until we actually deliver on our promises. And I'm sure that's the only reason why you had me over to your house tonight, right? Or had me on our phone call or Zoom call, right?
Yeah, you're also a handsome guy. You're a really
there you go.
handsome
Yeah,
guy.
I'm gonna put high
The gray
heels and a
hairs in the
skirt
beard.
on.
It's the gray hairs in the beard that did it for me.
So realistically, my job doesn't come full circle until I deliver on my promise. Now, I discovered a problem that I have a solution for, but I need to make you aware of it, just in case you don't know about it. But Chase, did you know that 20% of insurance policies don't pay out?
I didn't.
It's not because the insurance companies don't feel like fulfilling their obligations. They're still supposed to do what the contract says. But what happens is when somebody passes away, if a claim doesn't get processed, the company doesn't release the funds. Somebody needs to be there to take the money, a beneficiary, right? And so what I found is that a lot of these times the companies aren't paying out. It's not their fault. It's just because somebody didn't know that a policy existed. Chase, I cannot tell you how many times I've been in somebody's home that said that they have coverage. I asked them to go grab their policy, and I can hear them ransacking the back room. They come back all sweaty and bothered, and they tell me I can't find my policy. So if they can't find their policy, guess who else can't find the policy? The people who need the money the most, right? So what I do is I go above and beyond for my clients. This is a free service that I'm going to provide to you. But basically, I'd like to make sure that you don't become one of those statistics, that the policy does what it's supposed to do when it's supposed to do it. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to get a certificate into the hands of your beneficiaries and a couple of emergency contacts. Now, the emergency contacts, they won't see this money. It's none of their business what happens to the policy, but they would be instrumental in getting a hold of me whenever something happens to you, so that way I can fulfill the obligations to your family. Does that make sense?
Beautiful.
Great. So I have an intake form here. I need you to go ahead and fill out and put on and so what I do is I get both primary and contingent beneficiaries, not just for that piece, right? But obviously it's important. But on the intake form, I have them put their primary, their contingent beneficiary, and then 3 or 4 emergency contacts. Now, Chase, because this is such an important thing to them, do you think they're putting their mechanics and their hairdressers down as their emergency contacts?
Of course not.
They're putting important people, right?
Yeah.
They want to make sure that their family gets this check when they're supposed to.
Correct.
So they're writing down these people. And then I say, okay, Chase, great. So obviously, if I were to call these people to let them know that I need to get, and I show them the certificate too. I say, on this certificate, it's just a piece of paper. It shows them how to get a hold of me, what to do when something happens to you. I have displayed on there all the living benefits that they have, right? And so it's just a non-intrusive way for me, Chase, to give them this certificate. They put it away for safekeeping, and then they can get a hold of me anytime something happens to you, okay? So after they fill it out, I say, okay, Chase, do me a favor. Since we both know they're not going to answer my unknown phone number, can we give them a call really quick just to let them know that I need to get the certificate to them? Yeah, sure. Tell you, dude, not like 99 out of 100 times, they're going to say yes. I almost never get pushback on this, right?
100%.
So
that is a golden nugget.
So So I coach them. I say, okay, Chase, when you call your brother, I just need to say, hey, brother, I just got mortgage protection to protect the house in case something happens to me. I got my insurance agent right here. He just needs to talk to you. Can you spare a minute? Sure. There's credibility, right? It's not their hairdresser. It's their brother. So when I get on the phone, I say, hey, John, as Chase mentioned, he just got protected. Wanted to make sure that if something happens to him, God forbid, his wife and kids don't have to move into your house, right? So I have this certificate. I'm sure you would agree, John, that it would be important that this insurance policy pays how it's supposed to, right? You'd agree that that's important? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Great. So I have the certificate. I need to get it into both you and your spouse's hands. What's a good day I can drop this by, Monday or Tuesday? Monday's good. Address, gate code. You sure you're going to be there?
Appointment.
Lock in the appointment. Okay? Now, here's the cool thing. About half the time, Chase, they're like, you know what? When we're done, can we talk to you? But we've been thinking about getting life insurance.
Yeah, exactly. They're already asking you.
They
It's
tell
not.
me.
You're not going to force it on them when you show up 10 times because you've already won. You've shown them that you can get the job done. You've shown them that their friend can trust you, so you must be trustworthy. So you already built that authority. So for them, they're like, if they even have if they had a slight inclination at one point about getting life insurance, I'm sure that they will give it. It's quite genius. I thank you for bringing this on. If you are listening right now, you should definitely give a likes and a thumbs up because that was some pure gold.
Well, let me show
Awesome.
let me show everybody how to transition now. Let's make some money with it, okay?
Awesome.
So when you deliver this certificate, and I'm sorry if I'm cutting if you already
No, you're good. No, there's
cool.
No time limit.
All right,
I thought you were on a tight schedule, so
I go to
keep it going.
Hang on. I have sorry, you
check.
scared me. I have 15 minutes. Okay, I do have another appointment. All right, so we go to John and Mary's house. Okay, hey John, Mary, can we sit down at your kitchen table? I'll explain what all this is. Okay, so I whip out the certificate. I say, all right, so as I mentioned over the phone, he got coverage. If something happens to him, he's entitled to some living benefits. So if he ever gets a stroke, heart attack, cancer, blah, 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 and I'm highlighting him. I said, if any of this happens, I still need you to call me because he might not have a voice to speak for himself, but he's entitled to up to 90% of this death benefit money if something were to happen to him. So not only am I raising their awareness on what their brother's going to get, but guess what? They're thinking like, damn, that's pretty cool, right? So I'm leaving the impression at the same time, right? And so, and to your point too, right? Like they know that their brother just gave me their social and their banking information. There's already a level of credibility there, right? And so I'm showing them the living benefits. I say, this is my contact information. This is how you get a hold of me. I put the carrier name at the bottom. They went through this carrier. But if anything happens to them, because I know that over the next 20 or 30 years, people lose phone numbers, they change phone numbers, they change addresses. The more people that know that this exists, the higher likelihood that I have of delivering that claim, right? So here's how you get a hold of me. I slide it over to them. And I say, any questions on this? And they say, no, it's pretty self-explanatory, which it really is. It takes less than 5 minutes, Chase. This appointment can last for less than 5 minutes, okay? So no longer are we doing a 30-minute long presentation, right? We're showing them the certificate, and then I slide it over to them. Any questions? No, it's pretty self-explanatory. Great. Now, if by then they haven't talked to me about insurance, now it's my turn to bring this up, right? It's a smooth transition. And I say, okay, great, perfect. And I usually give them a business card too. So I say, okay, great. Now, if I left your house and I did not bring this up, your brother and something happened to you guys, your brother would kill me. He's going to say, you were just there. Did you not have this conversation with them? So I'd like to ask you, since I'm already here, do you guys already have something like this? I don't care if they say yes or no. If they say, yeah, I already got this, great. If I can get you something better, is there any reason you turn it down? Now I can overcome the objection. If they say, no, I don't have this, great. Since I'm already here, it only takes a few minutes to run a quote. Would you mind if I get that taken care of? Whether you take advantage of it or not, that's going to be up to you, right? And then through that process, I'll start asking those diagnostic questions to determine the need, run the quote, and then close business right then and there. So you're in and out of the house, if you can write an app pretty quickly, in less than an hour. Usually it's on a husband and a wife. So you took one sale and you turned it into maybe like 3 to 6 hot appointments, not just leads, but you left the house with appointments. And if they don't answer right there, I send them a quick text. I say, hey, send this to those people. Let them know that I'm going to be calling and to take my call on your behalf. So now there's a level of importance, right? So I can always follow up with the ones that didn't answer us. But you're turning one sale into 4 to 6 hot leads that are giving you the appointments. You're talking to them about this product and you're not even selling it to them. You're just showing it to them and you're easily transitioning into the conversation for them to get the coverage.
and you could easily do this in face to face, or you could even do this on telesales. Like telesales, you could easily do this in telesales. Get the emergency contacts, call the emergency contacts, send them all a text. You could kind of automate all of that
I'm
entire approach.
almost done building that automated system on phone sites
Yeah,
right now.
very cool.
People
Very
have
cool.
told me on the interim, you need to monetize and sell it. I don't know what I'll do with it, but I know it's beneficial. I trained on it. I have proof and success of people using this. I brought in an agent once, and we did $24,000 the very first month as an insurance agent through the system. She got paid 18 grand that month, so I know it
Very
works.
cool.
So yeah, I just wanted to leave that with people. Do with it what you want. If you guys need to reach out to me, I'll give you some of the old PDFs that I've used. Again, if you want to do it face to face, when I do come out with the digital version, I'd be willing to share that with you guys. But yeah, man, I hope that helps some people.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate having it on, man. If anybody does want to get a hold of you, I will tag you obviously in the original podcast. But if somebody does want to get a hold of you, what's your contact? What's your
Yeah.
handles? Facebook,
Also,
Instagram.
all social media, just look up Steve, Apodaca, Apodaca. Or if you want to find my digital business card that was made on phone sites, you can import me into your phone, find out all of my links. Everything that you need to know about me is going to be in one central location. You can either find that on Highlight, HILYTE.club, CLUB, and then the / Steve, STEVE. Okay. And if you want to go, if you guys need me for insurance purposes, that first one is kind of like my main one. But if you need me for insurance purposes, it's riseupbrokerage.com / Steve.
I put those down there so you guys
Oh,
can see
good.
it. Well, awesome, man. Well, I really, really appreciate you jumping on. We'll definitely have you on again in the near future. Love to jam with you again. So,
Yes, sir.
Without further ado, please like, share, and follow this, guys. If you got any value from our man Steve, please share this. Subscribe if you're listening on Apple Music or
Do it.
Spotify. Definitely like this stuff. Thanks again, man. I really appreciate it.